Let's go ahead and optimize those settings for the best competitive experience possible for FragPunk. Couple things here first though. This game is available on both Epic and Steam. I do believe everything is symmetrical across both platforms. I personally have this downloaded on Epic Games. Not that I think it will be, but if there is anything different, it could be either that or just some rig differences. If this is your first time here, welcome, and if you are returning, welcome back. Let's go ahead and dive right into the settings here. All right, so starting off with general, let me move my big ass head out of the way right here for a second. Now, text and spoken languages, that is pretty much self-explanatory. I'm almost positive most of you guys here speak English. Now, for the features here, the anti-motion sickness default, that is a thing. You can go ahead and apply it, and then it'll take care of a lot of things for you, allowing you to get a lot of FPS back that you may be losing. I don't have it on, but it's not a bad thing to have on. Automatic sprint, I have this on because I am a controller player. Now, I know what some of you guys may be thinking, but we'll go ahead and get there when we get there. Camera shake during sprint, I would turn that off. Not only is it visually distracting in my opinion, but it'll also cause you to lose some of those frames. FOV sprint scaling, I would turn this off. What this does is your FOV will be increased while you are sprinting. I personally don't like that because it'll make you feel like you are sprinting even slower than you're actually sprinting. Switch weapon on pickup. Any weapon you pick up becomes your active weapon out of combat. And if it is off, picking up a weapon will not switch your active weapon. Pretty much personal preference though. I don't think I've had any problems with this. Eye guarding mode, I do have this on for you guys in particular because I don't think a white screen ever is a good viewer experience. So instead of a full-on white screen when you get flashed, it'll be more of a dull, murky, dark gray screen. Now, target guide, when enabled, you can navigate to the target site by clicking its icon in the level with your mouse wheel. The shortest path from your current position to the corresponding site will be generated. I don't think this is a good or a bad thing necessarily. If it'll help you out, by all means, leave it on. Very similar situation with paint road guide. You could either leave this on or turn it off. Nothing too major there in my opinion. Interactable door highlights, I do think this helped me a lot when I was starting to play the game, but I don't think this is a must. Now, limit mouse area when you are out of a match. When disabled, you can move your mouse outside the game window when not in a match. If you have a multiple monitor setup, especially if you make content, maybe you're streaming and maybe you want to bounce back and forth between Discord and OBS or whatever, this is a pretty decent feature. But usually when I'm in the game, I'm pretty much locked in and I don't necessarily have to worry about this too much. Now, default scope magnification, I recommend leaving this on low for the most part, but there is a high option and then there is a custom option, and you can really get nitty-gritty with this. You can literally change how you want your sights for each weapon in the game. I think this is a pretty dope feature, by the way, but for the sake of simplicity, I'm gonna just go ahead and leave it on low. Now, as far as the mini-map, keep players centered, I highly recommend putting this on because I come from the Call of Duty community, and in COD, you are centered on your mini-map, and Call of Duty has me so brainwashed. I want every game to feel as close to Call of Duty as possible. Now, mini-map size, I have this pretty large at 1.1, and mini-map zoom, I have this zoomed to 1. This essentially keeps me from having to look for the mini-map. It's kind of just right there and I can glance up at it because we've all been killed, especially in Call of Duty, looking at our mini-maps. Now, display location name on mini-map, I have this on. I think this has been helping me and my team a lot, especially with the game being so new. Even if you do get pretty advanced at this game as it goes on, I recommend leaving this on still. Minimap location name zoom, again, personal preference. And minimap orientation, I have this on rotate. Again, very similar to Call of Duty, because if it is fixed, your cursor will kind of move around instead of the world moving on the minimap, if that makes sense. Now, as far as display, I have my performance metrics on just so I can see what's going on in game, like the frames I'm getting and the latency and whatnot. That will be up in the top left part of your screen. Now, let's slide down to enemy color here. I personally have this on red, not to get Bill, not the science guy here on the channel, but the colors that catches the human eye faster than any other color in the color wheel are red, yellow, and orange. So I don't really recommend purple, but red and yellow are really good options. My personal favorite is red. Display headwear, I don't think this is a big deal. You can have this on or off. Now, this next one is a big deal. Hide overly visible skin components from enemies. So if your Lancer has anything on that the enemies can see from a mile away, you can hide this simply by just turning this setting on, because this game has super vibrant aesthetics, and in my opinion, especially when you start playing rank play, I don't think you want to be telegraphing saying, hey, I'm over here, shoot at me. That's essentially what those overly visible skin components are. Now, same thing for allies. I don't think it's a big deal. You can just leave it off. Display customized crosshair of current player. After you get eliminated, instead of your crosshair, you will see the crosshair of the player that you are watching. I think it's pretty cool, and it also helps me know who I'm watching, but this is not a must. Custom crosshair, you do have the ability to make a custom one. I use the default one personally. Now, the sight crosshair color. This one is huge in my opinion. You can literally make this any color of the color wheel that you want. I've personally been rocking with this yellow color here, and this will essentially change the color of your reticle. That's what the sight crosshair means. It's essentially the reticle. Now for keyboard, guys, unfortunately, I do not have any sauce for you, but I can definitely get you guys some sooner or later because I am the only controller player in the mix, and I might just have to make the switch soon. Now, if we have any controller players here, look sensitivity, I personally have mine on 0.7, ADS controller sensitivity multiplier on 0.8, view input curve 1.1, movement stick dead zone on 0.2, view stick dead zone 0.2 as well, turning ramp up delay to max time 0.3. I do believe that is default, and everything else here I do believe is default. Controller vibration, I do have this on. I know in a competitive world I should have this off, but I'm a knucklehead, sorry. And controller aim assist, obviously I have this on, but I know what a lot of you guys are thinking. Oh, he's an aimbot user, he's an aim assist user. The aim assist in this game is almost non-existent. I wish it was a whole lot stronger than it really is. But let's scoot on over to video. This is where the real sauce is, guys. Now, the display screen, obviously you're going to want to have that to your monitor. Now for display mode, for the sake of me recording this video, I do have it on borderless, but I play on full screen. This will allow you to get the most frames per second possible. Display ratio, I recommend 16.9, but it is personal preference. Display resolution, 1920 by 1080, and I do know you can go ahead and get a little more nitty-gritty with that as well, depending on the monitor you have. Now for FOV, I've kind of been dealing with 95 to 100 more or less. Again, all personal preference, but I do think when your FOV is lower, it gives the illusion that your aim is better, which will inherently help you shoot better. Now for filter here, I do have this on default. You can go ahead and dial in which one you want. I think vivid looks cool. It's pretty vibrant, and soft doesn't look bad either, but personally I just leave this on default. Now post-processing intensity, adjust the display intensity of the post-processing effects in the game. I have this on normal, but the other two options are low or none. Menu frame rate limit, I have this at 60. You can go all the way up to unlimited if you want to. Gameplay frame rate limit, I have this on unlimited. Out of focus frame rate limit, I have this on 60. This is essentially when you tab out of your game, what kind of frames the game will maintain. So if you're a streamer, or again, maybe you're making content and you're tabbing out for whatever reason, I recommend leaving this at 60. You can also do unlimited as well, but if not, you can do 10 or 30, but I don't think that'd be a big deal for you guys. Now for brightness, I have this on 1. Sharpen, I have it on 1.5. Anti-tearing, I have this off. If you turn this on, this can present you some problems, maybe some more input latency and lost frames, and we don't want that. I'm trying to help you guys get more frames, not lose any. Now minimalist graphics, I have this off. You can turn this on though and really dial in how you want these things here. Now for the auto setting, I recommend just glossing over this and changing your quality presets to low. This is the only thing I'm going to tell you to do. I don't care how good your PC is. Having your quality presets on low will give you the highest frames per second possible. Now for upscaling, I recommend NVIDIA DLSS 4 if you have an NVIDIA graphics card. There are a few other options here. I do know AMD is pretty popular. Now where it says DLSS 4, I recommend Ultra Performance. And for the model preset, prioritize speed. Frame generation DLSS G, but by default, I think this made my frame generation 2x. DLSS 4 essentially lowers that input delay some more for you. And since we set that preset to low, everything else here will be on low. Now at the bottom here, we do have a benchmark tool. This, you can see essentially how everything on your game is running. So I'm gonna go ahead and start my benchmark tool here with everything on low. Now this will kind of vary. Things will be different depending on how many tabs you have open or anything of that nature, but I am sitting around 360 frames per second. And if you guys are curious, these are some of my specs here. Even if I run things on epic graphics, I believe everything will still be the exact same. I'll go ahead and change that preset to epic. We're gonna apply it, and then we'll go ahead and start that benchmark tool again. So I hardly lost any frames, but just because I'm not losing frames, this doesn't mean that you won't lose frames. If you have a graphics card, maybe like a 3060, you might see some problems here. That is a wrap. Hopefully I got you guys to optimize your settings for the best competitive experience in FragPunk. I'll drop 2 more videos for you on the screen right here, and consider subscribing to the channel. I upload 2 videos every single week, every Tuesday and Friday, and it'd be dope to have you as a part of the squad. Catch you all on the next one.